My name is Mark Miner. I am an investigative writer and author. In my travels, I've investigated many people and places. Watch as I seek out stories that are typically outside of the box of normal. I am the Seeker.
Hi guys, welcome back to another episode. Today we're going to talk about metaphysics and what it is. So a lot of people have often wondered, is it like a singular thing? Is it a more wide variety of things? So that's what we're going to cover today. So metaphysics is a knowledge that respects the beauty in all of God's creation. Metaphysics is also a religion without dogma. Metaphysics does not explore religious beliefs and laws created by man, but rather it explores the immutable laws of nature set by the Creator, God, universal presence, in the creation of the universe. Metaphysics is a branch of philosophy that studies the ultimate nature of existence, reality, and experience without being bound to any one theological doctrine or dogma. Metaphysics includes all religions, but transcends them all. Metaphysics is the study of ultimate cause in the universe, and metaphysics is the only science capable of inquiring beyond physical and human science. So that's kind of like the bullet points of it, but we're going to talk a little bit more in depth, okay? So traditionally, the word metaphysics comes to us from the ancient Greece, where it was a combination of two words, meta, meaning over and beyond, and physics. Thus, the combination means over and beyond physics. In the definition found in most dictionaries, metaphysics is referred to as a branch of philosophy that deals with first cause and then the nature of being. It is taught by a branch of philosophy in most academic universities under the label speculative philosophy. In today's world, though, the word metaphysics has become a description of many fields of interest. When one expresses an interest in metaphysics, that interest may be in any one or a combination of the following subjects: philosophy, which we just talked about, religion, parapsychology, mysticism, yoga, ESP, extrasensory perception, dreams, Jungian philosophy, transpersonal psychology, theocentric psychology, astrology, meditation, self-help studies, positive thinking, life after death, transcendentalism, that's a big word, reincarnation. So the common denominator of these and all similar subjects, of course, deals with an exploration of reality, and in the idealistic sense, how such knowledge may benefit human life on this earth, but individually and collectively. If, then, this is the aim of such interest, it is why most professional metaphysical practitioners as a spiritual philosophy or a way of life. All but a very few practitioners in metaphysics today have a pivotal point of some sort of spiritual philosophy in whatever system or teaching of metaphysics they are engaged in. It's important to understand this, especially when reviewing the legal technicalities of being in metaphysics professionally. If we were to travel from one metaphysical teacher or organization to another, we would find people engaging in different things, all under the label of metaphysics. This could be a wide range, such as yogis, mystics, astrologers, positive thinking teachers, meditation teachers, spiritual healers, graph analysts, self-help teachers, counselors, coaches, and so on. The list is just immense. The range is wide, but again, the basic denominator is a search for truth, purpose, and meaning in life, which can't be isolated from basic spiritual questions. All of these fields, therefore, are regarded as part of metaphysics by the University of Metaphysics and other teaching platforms and facilities. There's an old proverb that states, "No matter what path a human may travel, it is my path." No matter where they walk, it leads to me. I know that sounds kind of self centered, but we kind of have to work on ourselves before we can work on others. We have to learn to love ourselves and understand who we are. And that's kind of what metaphysics does. So, whether you do the meditation or crystals or you're doing your by your chakras or whatever, what you're trying to do is you're trying to find your place in the universe. Why are you here? That's the ultimate question, right? So, in a more absolute sense, we like to think of metaphysics as dealing with the basic questions of life, such as the relationship of man, our minds, and the universe, which leads to answers to the age old questions of anyone who has truly paused to reflect on life by asking the most fundamental questions of all. You know what they are. 1. Who am I? 2. What am I? 3. Where have I been? And 4. Where am I going? So let's touch on each of those for a minute. So in metaphysics, I would say the number one thing that most people do try to come to grips with or to learn about is who am I? That question, who am I? So I know that sounds silly. I mean, you've lived with yourself since birth, but have you ever just sat down and thought to yourself, who am I? Who am I really? And you have and kind of what borders with that is what am I? So obviously you're a human being, but spiritually, what am I? These two questions, the who am I, what am I, combined, helps you place yourself in the reality you're in now. So I know that sounds really complicated, but it's not. So if you find out who you are and you're happy with that and you love who you are and you come about it in whichever way, in a metaphysical way, you tend to find out what am I. So if you find out that who I am is someone who enjoys nature, who I am is someone who enjoys to be outside, then you find out kind of what you are. So you're an adventurer, you're an explorer, such a thing. And I'm using myself for that example. But it can be many things, many, many things. And this can also help you find what occupation or career that you can go into. The number 3 thing, where have I been? That seems like a silly question. Well, I just came from the living room. No, that's not quite what it means. We're thinking more in a wider spiritual spectrum here. Where have I been? Have I lived many lives? Have I allowed things in this lifetime to influence who I am at this moment? Have I allowed things in my past lives to influence what is happening in this life? A good example, when I was a child, whatever, as far as I can remember back to when I was like 1.5, 2 years old. I was deathly afraid of water for no apparent reason. I just always thought of water when I was a kid. I always thought of water as jelly, not liquid. Like most people just don't think about it, but I did as a kid. I thought of it as jelly. And if you dip yourself in jelly or immerse your face underneath the jelly, it would leak into your body and suffocate you or kill you. And I thought this when I was a kid. I mean, very young. Now, where did that come from? You know? So it could be something from my past life, which I have not figured that out, about the whole water thing. But, there are phobias and fears that we have that could be really explained. So when you ask yourself, where have I been? You're really, in part, still fulfilling the first two. Who am I and what am I? So, and then of course, number 4, once you get all 3 questions done or to your satisfaction, number 4 is, where am I going? So you want to set a path in life. You want to set plans and goals and dreams. And so you have to figure out who you are, you know, where you've been, what influences have been around you, what part of those influences you need to take out, and whatever. Also, too, you want to also explore what you're not willing to be influenced by. And, where you can just stand your ground and say, nope, this is me. And if you don't accept it, then I'm sorry. This also, all these help you understand where you're going in life. So, anyway, so that's kind of the basics of metaphysics. I did at one point in time get into metaphysics when I was in my early 20s. I was introduced into metaphysics by my Aunt Charlene. And it was very interesting because I wasn't a highly religious person. I was just, of course, I was young. I was out doing wild things and whatever. And I think the reason why my Aunt Charlene introduced me into it now that I'm much older and understand it is that she wanted me to find some kind of balance in my spiritual life and in my being. And she wanted me to find, some kind of anchor. You know, I will admit, at that time I was pretty wild. I was running all over the country. I was moving in, moving out with people, and I was, partying, and I just didn't have a very good grasp on life. And so I think this really helped. And my Aunt Charlene was a very wise woman. She knew that I may not take to it then, but that later in life I would reflect on that and it would help me understand where I was going. And that's the influences I'm talking about. And my aunt knew that from the very beginning. So we did, past life regressions. We went on the medicine wheel and did meditations, lots of meditations. I learned how to do out of body experiences. I learned how to, work on my chakras. I've learned how to look at nature and listen to it. Um, I learned how to feel at one with the elements around me. There was so much that I learned. And I reached a certain point in metaphysics that I just felt I reached what I needed to. And so I kind of walked away from it and then just used it a little bit off and on throughout my life. And I still am. So I would encourage everybody to really look into metaphysics. Um, Even if you're a Christian, there's nothing wrong with it. I mean, don't be so judgmental or tight, with your religious understandings and teachings. There's nothing wrong with studying other forms of spiritual journeys. That doesn't mean that God loves you any less. Remember, He's your Father, and so fathers always love their children, regardless of what they do. So I would suggest you to do more research. Maybe reach out and talk to a metaphysical teacher. Um, of whatever sort you're looking for, whether it's meditation, yoga, or past life experiences, or spiritual healers. I would kind of stay away from the $10 psychics, but I mean, just kind of look for someone that's really into that field that has some good credentials and a good standing in the public. I will tell you, you won't regret it. So I have a better understanding personally of what's around me in nature and in spirituality and in religion and in the such. And my personal thing is I've come to understand and accept everybody's different religious beliefs because of that. Everybody has their own path. Everybody has their own choices. And you can't knock them for that. That's one thing that's wrong with the world today. We're always judging each other, saying you can't do this, you can't do that, this offends me, that offends me. Well, relax. Just relax. Everybody has their own walk. When somebody does something bad, they'll suffer the consequences for that. Um, but you have to stop standing in a crowd and pointing out the evildoers. That's got to stop. There's no positivity in that. So walk out there into the world, accept people for who they are, Whether you understand it or not, it's not the issue. In fact, that should be a conversation starter. So, anyways, I suggest that you guys do some research on metaphysics and reach out and learn on your own. And perhaps some of you have already done that, tidbits here and there. And I think you'd be pleasantly surprised. So, I want to thank you for stopping by and talking about this stuff with me. And I would love to hear what you guys think in in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe and to hit that like button. But I'm more interested in having a conversation with you guys. So let me know your experiences. I know it's kind of difficult putting that all in a comment, but I would love to hear your experiences. I read every comment you guys put underneath there, and 99% of the time I always reply. So let me hear from you. Okay. So I'm glad you guys enjoyed this episode. We got so many more to go, and I'm super excited. So you guys remember, stay weird, be good people, and hang in there. I know times are tough. Just hang in there. Everything's going to be okay. Trust me. All right, guys. I'll see you on the next adventure.